If you've done your research, you'll know that here in Milan, rice and polenta are king. And the dish they're most known for is risotto.
Oh boy.
Yay!
Not risotto. I thought that I could manifest it out of this competition and completely avoid it.
Welcome to the Eat Your Content podcast. I'm your host, Rich Herrera. Thank you for pushing play on my little podcast. I appreciate it. Every play counts. Just a reminder to follow me on socials at Rich Herrera and at Eat Your Content on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you like what we're doing, hit the follow button on your podcast player of choice so you know when new episodes are coming out. We are getting close to the end of Top Chef Season 22. We're in episode 13. We're down to the final 4. And joining me once again is a person familiar with this position at this point in the Top Chef game, Top Chef Season 21 finalist, and friend of the pod, Savannah Miller. Savannah, thanks for coming on.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Friend of the pod. I love it.
It's a great title. Great title. Very few people have that title in my podcast, so consider yourself honored.
My new email, or actually my first email sign off. I've never really made a good one, but it'll be friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. That's good. That's good. But yeah, thanks for keeping coming on. I know it's a lot of time out of your schedule to do this for, what are we, 13 weeks now with one more week to go.
I know.
What did you, it's been a ride. I got to tell you.
I know. Just in general, like us doing this weekly, the show being back on, it feels like, it's like Thanksgiving time or Christmas time, or it's like nearing Valentine's Day. I'm very into like celebration. And so I've loved like watching the show, and I feel like it's more of what I talk about on a daily basis, not just because of the podcast, but because I'm like bringing it up at work and I'm asking, guests at the restaurant. And I feel like people have asked me more about it, like, because they're watching it every week. And I'm a little sad that I feel like it'll be weird for me to just continue to talk about this much, which I probably will anyways, but 3-4 weeks from now. I'm a little sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's the trip is almost done, and it's been a joy and a pleasure to have you on, but we're getting way too early for that kind of talk. We still got another week to go to see who wins, but
we gotta go.
So let's talk about episode 13. I loved it. I thought it was a really great episode, a diabolical quickfire, a really fun elimination challenge, kind of head-to-head competition there. So the final 4, I just want to say, with Caesar, Tristan, Schwei, and Bailey, I think is a good final 4. You have 2 that battled their way from LCK, and then you got 2 that are on a heck of a run this back half of the season. Tristan through the whole season, but Schwei kind of later in the back half of the season. So I think you have 2 very distinct storylines happening here. You have the underdogs coming from LCK. If Bailey wins this thing, I think she would be the second person to win from LCK, Kristen being the first, obviously. But I don't think anybody since then, somebody fact check me in the comments, I don't think anybody since then has come back from LCK to win the whole thing, especially in this new era of LCK where they drop you off in the middle as opposed to at the very end. So I think it's a great. What's that?
Did Brooke do that in Charleston?
Oh, that's right. I
might be wrong. If I'm wrong, if that's not true, I've told people that. But so anyone listening, it doesn't. It's still very rare, right?
Yeah,
it's not.
It's a rare thing.
Yeah.
You can count on one hand of this happening, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. But yeah, it's a rare thing, and it's a great storyline to see play out. I think you have the 2 favorites in Schwei and Tristan, and then you have the 2 underdogs with Caesar and Bailey coming back from LCK. But we're in Milan, so we have made the trip across the ocean. We're in Milan, and the opening scene, that Delta One lounge, is legit. I was like, ain't no way that's crazy. That's a full 5-star restaurant in an airport.
The entire episode. Sorry, my dog just snuck by in the back, little Halo. She sounds like little tic tac. This entire episode, I felt extremely jealous and a lot of FOMO, the first class flight, everything. I mean, we'll get into it, but yeah, starting with the lounge.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to your season. I was like, Man, Savannah's got to be hating watching this episode right now. The first class flight,
They're like,
the first class
oh,
food. Like, what was going through your head? You're like, what the hell, man?
we're like we're like sitting in a, a tiny little, I'm, leaning in, of course, but we're like, sitting in a tiny little cabin waiting to like go through like the customs to get on the boat to do the thing, and like I guess in Florida, right? We're
Yeah.
close to you. And it's like getting on a cruise boat or getting off a cruise boat is something I would put in line with like TSA or like going to the DMV. And so imagine like you have us and there's like wranglers and there's like all this stuff happening. So it was like a little wild, and we didn't have like anything like the lounge. It wasn't like that. And we're sitting there, they're passing out like the patches for behind your ears. And they're like, all right, everyone get ready. It's going to be a wild week. So different, I would say.
Yeah, different. That's a diplomatic way to put it. But like we said last week, ain't no Milan, right? Ain't no Milan.
Ain't
But
no Milan. No Milan, man.
so contrary to editing, because it looked like, oh, we just got done with Calgary, we're on a plane heading to Milan. There was a little bit of a break. They had a 2-week break. Bailey during the risotto challenge.
Mhm.
Oh, my cat. Hold on. I'm so sorry. There's my cat. Oh, jeez. Jumped on my desk. I apologize.
Wait, I love this.
Yeah. Right. We got dogs. We got cats.
They'll meet at the end.
She just like jumped on my desk. Like, come on, man. So Bailey during the risotto challenge said that there was like a 2-week gap between Calgary and Milan. Yours, if I remember correctly, was 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Correct.
crazy. That's crazy. 6 weeks, I
Yeah.
think, is entirely way too long, because you and your season, you were on a run too in the back half.
Yeah.
And I felt like that 6 weeks just iced it.
Yeah.
It took you out of that mindset for way too long. And
Yeah,
then and I saw that in your episodes between Curacao and the last one, Wisconsin. I was like, something happened to Savannah. Not bad, but it's just like you're just out of it, right? So
Well, it's like,
tell me what you're thinking about the 2 weeks versus 6 weeks.
oh my God, I have so much to say. We finished I watched the episode last night, and I immediately, because it's bringing back just a lot of feelings in general watching another finale.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, my finale is episode 12. I was like, that in my brain is where the season ends. I was like, we're done there. Curacao who? Like, I don't know her. And so I watched episode 12 last night, and I was thinking the same thing. And obviously I take every responsibility there is for just, whether it was like I had a bad day, I didn't prepare in the right ways, whatever it is, like that is on me. But I do think that personally, I would have worked better with less of a break. And maybe people are different. Maybe there's some people who would say, you're going to complain like 6 weeks is like, you have longer, it's happening. If you like, how many people can say, so you were told that you have 6 weeks and then you're going to go cook the meal of your life on the finale of Top Chef. Like, you have 6 weeks. That's more time. I'm just somebody who doesn't necessarily work better under those types of rules. Like, I feel like I was in the moment. It probably would have been better for me if it kind of was, I think the break was necessary, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 4, maybe better than 6. But I say all of that, and I just want to like follow it with, that isn't what made or break it, I would say, but I don't think it helped.
Yeah, I think from just a psychological, mindset type of perspective, 6 weeks, you kind of get back into your daily routine of life, right? I don't know what you did during your 6 weeks. You probably went back to work for a little while, because with Top Chef, do you get paid to be on Top Chef, like per episode? I mean, I don't want to get into your finances or anything, but
No, you don't. And I mean, and I'll say this as well, like, I didn't actually. So when you tell like the people, if you work for yourself, it's one thing, right? But like, I had kind of a newish job with a big company. And so I had a lot of fears, just that naturally people would realize that I had been lying about where I was, because I was lying about where I was. And when I came back, it was kind of an open conversation with just the small group of people, that I worked for. And it was just kind of like, I am going to be here for 6 weeks, but then I'm going to be gone again. And I don't necessarily know, like, if it's not going to get out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like,
Yeah.
I just think there's too many people would be nosy. Where are you going in 6 weeks? Where are you going in 2 weeks? You know what I'm saying? And one person asked this. I'm not that good of a liar. Like, it was a harsh thing. And ultimately, I knew that I wanted to kind of go back to a smaller setting. And so that was just like a very mutual kind of breakup. But we had that conversation pretty much as quickly after I got home, because I was like, I need to know what kitchen I'm using to like practice in. And so even if I was going to work there as well, it would kind of be like sneaking in at night and using the kitchen. And so it was like all these weird things. Long story short, I like used my home kitchen. Like I essentially was like turning this into like a little science lab, which it's not really equipped for. So maybe it was good preparation for the boat, actually. And
Yeah.
looking back.
Yeah, because like 6 weeks, that's long enough for you to get back into your routine of daily life, and then you have to kind of keep Top Chef top of mind and be like,
Yeah.
all right, I got to devote some time to practice, but I also have a job, I have bills to pay and things like that. Whereas 2 weeks, it's just like, all right, it's just a little bit of a break. I don't have to worry too much about what's going on. Everything's been taken care of while I was gone. 2 weeks, I can still pretend I'm not at home and
Yeah.
be in the mindset of the game. So when I heard 2 weeks, I was like, oh man, that's crazy, because
Yeah.
had it been 2 weeks for you, I think it would have been a different story in your season. I really
Oh,
believe so. Seriously, because
thanks,
you
Rich.
no, really, you were on a run,
Yeah.
and you would have been you still would have had that frame of mind going in, and
Yeah.
2 weeks would have given you enough time to get a menu together to practice it and have it be fresh in your head, and not feel like you're starting Top Chef all over again because it's been 6 weeks.
Yeah. I
So
appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. Obviously I'm not ever going to be able to say anything like that. So I appreciate you saying that kind thing. But I do believe that it took me a long time to get the momentum and have the confidence where I could just walk in and like, and just cook the way that I was cooking. And so, yeah, it was something about coming back, and then like, it's almost like you kind of like forget who you are,
mhm,
like, who the fuck are you? And it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
That's how I felt getting back on the boat. And I think it was just enough time to like, just get nervous about it. And so, yeah, damn it.
damn it, first Milan, and then they get only a 2 week break. That's just not fair. But
It's okay. This will be
anyway.
just like the first 4 chapters of the memoir in a few years. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, we digress. We digress.
We
So
digress a lot.
let's a lot. Let's talk about the quick fire. So risotto on Top Chef has always been the albatross about the neck of those that have tried to cook it. And to make a quick fire risotto themed, to me, was diabolical. And then they gave them only 35 minutes, which is about 5 minutes short of a proper risotto,
Hmm.
to get it done in a way that it should be done. So when you heard risotto as a quickfire challenge in Milan, which of course makes sense, what were you thinking?
Um, I believe that it's one of those things that's kind of like it's written on the wall, right? Like if you use that 2 weeks and you were like studying like what might pop up, I think it's obviously that like you want to focus on your final meal, but there is that one last cook. So there's like so many things that it could be. You don't want to like go too hard on anything. But like risotto, I think it's a little like on the nose and like silly. And I just think that to be presented with a risotto challenge in Milan, my overarching feeling of the entire quickfire is just that like I really am surprised that two people didn't really make risotto.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Why? I mean, Schwei and Caesar go with a vegetarian risotto, which I thought was let's just say a bold choice.
Hmm.
And it was written on Tom's face through the entire thing. He was passively aggressive, pissed about
Yeah.
them not making rice, and it was kind of funny to watch. But why would you go to Milan, home of risotto,
Yeah.
on a risotto challenge and not use rice? Like, what do you think was going through their head? Were they thinking maybe, oh, I want to do something different. I want to stand out among the four, or
Yeah,
I just don't want to mess with arboreal rice.
you know what I bet was going through Tom's head was, I miss Massimo. Because
It was a different episode. It was a different feel, I will say.
Well, I know, I mean, like, when we, like, if we're gonna, like, pick fun at him for, like, he's, he's such a this, or he's like, French food is this and Italian food is this, I bet you, like, he would have made a stunning risotto. Like,
Yeah.
I believe, anyways, I digress again. I think that, what's going through their minds, I don't really know. I think Cesar has done this, he's done this a lot. Like, he makes a lot of weird things that work. It made me think about, like, moments where I've maybe done that, and it's like, oh, well, I'm getting really good at, like, kind of like doing things off the cuff, and so I'm really just gonna, like, try to just go in there and cook today. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, maybe that was a little too casual. And so, like, not that that's his exact thing, but, like, he's gotten a lot of praise for doing things that are weird, and, like, everyone's like, Cesar, what? No, and then it's like he pulls it off. And so when you kind of, like, get really confident with that, and then you walk into it and it's like, I'm not even gonna make risotto, I'm gonna blah blah blah, and they're gonna I wonder if he was kind of like, they're gonna eat this shit up.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, this wasn't the time to, like, I don't know, necessarily do that. Like, homie, you have the entire next episode if you want to do whatever you want to do. I think it's just a little silly. Like, they're about to give you so much free reign.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't think doing a vegetarian risotto was the right call on either one's part. I mean, it looked good and it was fine. And I like what Kristen said about Schwei. It's a really great squash side dish. It was not a risotto. It was not a risotto. So I thought that was a bold choice. And Schwei was funny. He's like, yeah, I didn't even practice risotto. Like, dude, you're going to Milan, man. You didn't practice risotto at all. And Tristan was funny too. He's like, I was trying to will a risotto out of existence. I was hoping we would not have to make a risotto. But he, ends up doing really well. I love what he said. I want to bring some melanin to Milan, and he makes a Jollof.
Oh my God.
A Jollof inspired risotto, which is just next level. I mean, I love Tristan. He's so great at this.
Yeah.
And then Bailey having a full circle kind of risotto moment from her first episode to now. What a great just couple of storylines happening with this quickfire. What were some other standout scenes or about Tristan and Bailey that you liked and enjoyed?
I like I like that Tristan, it just feels like the last episode where he's kind of, I don't like, I mean diva in, like, the best way. Like, just like, like, I just really didn't want to make risotto. He's just being really honest, and he's like, I've done everything I could to avoid this. Like, he kind of gives me, like, Dan vibes and, like, the commentary way of, like, just funny. And then you're like, oh, here's Tristan doing something he doesn't really want to do. Just kidding. He, like, made it his own, and now it's the best one there is. It's just like, it's kind of his thing. So I'm not surprised anymore, but I guess I was just a little bit, like, taken aback in general by Bailey not completely crushing it. I think as far as she's concerned, and I feel like I even hate to say that because she's incredible, and I just think that, like, she's in Milan and I love this for her, but, like, for all of the Italian food and, like, this being her POV, and I don't know. I guess I just expected her to be like, I'm gonna just give you, I guess I wanted someone to make a perfect risotto with almost nothing in it. And I just wanted, like, and I don't mean, like, I need salt, but like don't mask the rice, and, like, how can you, like, show it off with, like, very minimal whatever perfect technique, but still, like, it stands out. Like, I think it would have been cool if someone just made a bowl of risotto that was straight up, but it was just so well done and so perfect that it won.
That would have been neat to see somebody make just a classic Parmesan risotto with just some shaved Parmesan on top, and that's it. And then the simplicity of a absolute perfect risotto could have won the thing instead of all the accoutrements and stuff on there. Now,
You're in Milan. Yeah.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
right there. It's like, I bet you have great products. I don't know. Maybe that's what I kind of expected maybe Bailey to do. But
Yeah. Yeah. And Bailey being the Italian chef in the group, I am kind of surprised as well that she didn't crush it in either challenge necessarily. She's in the final, but
yeah.
she didn't really stand out in the risotto challenge, didn't really stand out in the elimination challenge. And this is
Mhm.
her thing. So now, with that said, she made improvements from the first time she tried to make a couple of dishes that we'll talk about in a minute. But with her being the Italian chef, I really thought she would have had the advantage on here. Also, like Tristan, like a boss, stirring risotto with one hand, charring greens with the other, and just
Yeah.
like split braining his cook. I was like, wow, that's insane. So I thought it was a really fun quick fire all around. Um,
Yeah.
Love the point of views on everything. I just a couple of things just didn't work, and I kind of expected that when I immediately saw vegetarian risotto. I'm like, you're missing the point of the challenge. The point of the challenge is you're in Milan, make a good risotto. But so let's talk
Yeah.
about the dishes from the quick fire for a minute. So Caesar did the celery root risotto with chicken jus and white truffle. The look on Tom, he cannot play poker. The look of disappointment on his face after there was a few comments was like, this is not what I wanted. It was kind of funny.
I was like, Tom definitely like trashed his trailer after this episode.
He's
Not
he's flipping tables.
yeah, right. Like I can't actually imagine this ever, but can you like I feel like he would just go off and like fish and not talk to anybody for a long time instead. Like he would just I feel like he would just go rogue. But yeah, I'm like, you imagine Tom just going back and being like, get rid of all the hats, no more hats, like we're done. But yeah, so he looked pissed. But I will say, like, we really haven't seen a lot of that this season.
Yeah, yeah.
So that felt familiar. I knew that face. I didn't have FOMO. I was like, okay.
That looks familiar. I've seen that face before. So Tristan did a West African inspired risotto with heirloom tomatoes and charred buttered greens. Tom said the texture was good, but it was also a little too salty. But I again love his POV. Like he takes ingredients and filters them through an Afro Caribbean lens, and
Yeah.
it works. It just works, which was really fun to see. Bailey did a red wine risotto with Parmigiano and Taleggio, hazelnut and pear gremolata. Tom said it was nice. Gail said it was intensely sour
Mhm.
from that, which has got to be a little unpleasant. So,
Yeah, I feel like when I mean, I don't know if this is what they meant. I find that sometimes I would be making something and I feel like it always happens when I'm making like a cream flavored like vegetable soup almost because you're adding a lot of fat to something that I have like vinegar and all this other stuff in. And you just really do have to like cook things down and marry flavors and it takes time. And sometimes when I've rushed it, I've gotten that sour note. And for me, it's very like bile-esque and
oh,
like I don't clip this part, okay? Like I'm serious, please. But
already
I
edited,
feel
already done.
yeah, right. Oh my god. I don't have a gallbladder. I can talk about this. I just feel like I wonder if that's what they meant because with the things that she was adding and like the red wine, which I just it's one of my least favorite flavors and like things that I do it and I'll taste and I'm like, oh, I need to adjust that. Hold on. And so I wonder if it was that. But that's what it made me think of.
Yeah, yeah. So Schwei bile-esque.
Gross. Sorry.
That's going viral. So Schwei did a squash risotto with chanterelle, saffron, parmigiano, and toasted hazelnuts. Tom again looking disappointed, which was funny again. And he plated way too early. Like he had about a minute, maybe 30 seconds left on the clock. And the chefs on this show, Top Chef, try to use every last second of that clock as much as possible to cook to the last second. It's got to feel like an eternity just standing there for 30 seconds.
I wouldn't know, but I feel like that was weird to me. Um, because and I think that like Schwei is just such a sweet guy that it just probably comes off as like, but I'm done cooking. You know what I mean? Like they're done cooking. Why would and like I think that he's like, it's done. And it's almost like a confidence of like, no, the dish is done. But like And at that point, you can't cook rice. But I just feel like even if I didn't have anything left to do, I would feel awkward standing there, and I would feel some type of way or be worried. I don't know. So I feel like I would be doing anything else.
Something, garnish, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because that was one of the comments on his dish, is that he plated it too early and started seizing up. And that's the thing with risotto, is such a time sensitive dish. If you don't eat it right then, in 5 minutes, it's going to look like spackle. You can hang drywall with it. And so that's what ended up, kind of costing Schwa at the end. But during the judging of it, when they brought everybody back together, Tom was like, he was funny. He basically gave him an entomology lesson of, this is what risotto means. It means rice, and you didn't cook rice. He was like the most passive aggressive tirade I think I've seen this season. We haven't seen, like you were saying, we haven't seen Tom really like upset this season. But to see him like get mad about risotto was really, really funny, and rightfully so. They should have just done risotto.
Tom's like, we flew you first class to Milan.
And you're giving me squash.
Yeah. But I will say, and maybe I'm just not paying attention enough, because I know remember they're like, there's no rice, and he's like, there's rice water or something, right? Like, so
yeah.
Is that what he used to thicken it?
Yeah, rice stock.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, sorry. I was trying to think, because I was like, one of them was like, well, there's rice water. Okay, that makes sense. Because in my mind, I was like, what are they worried about, like congealing? And what are they worried about, like firming up, because there's no rice?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Rice water. Too much rice water, just not enough rice.
Crazy. So the winner was Tristan. So Tristan, with his jollof inspired rice, wins $15K in quickfire cash for this one. So good job, Tristan, and getting some momentum going into the elimination challenge. So let's talk about the elimination challenge for a minute. So in the spirit of the upcoming Winter Games heading to Milan and Cortina in 2026, the chefs are to cook a 3-part head-to-head tournament featuring Milan and Cortina ingredients. One thing I thought was funny, Kristen turns and asks Bailey, hey, are you a big fan of the Winter Olympics? And I know everybody's supposed to say, oh yeah, I love the Winter Olympics, but just once in one of these shows, I want somebody to go, nah, not a real big fan. I don't watch sports a whole lot. They're supposed to say yes, but I would just love it if somebody said no, and then just kind of have that awkward silence hanging in the air.
Well, it's like they do it when it's like, I've never cooked pigeon before. I've never even like gone hunting, right? But it's never when it's like for the advertisement. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if they got in the car and they were like, this BMW sucks ass. And it's like they wouldn't put that in. Yeah.
So I would never be caught dead in a BMW. Jeez, the maintenance costs on this car. Are you kidding me? Give me a Honda Civic.
That's the secret though. If you're ever like, gossiping and you just don't want, like, it's, if you like put your thing on your mic, it's really obvious. People know like what you're doing. But if you like, I would start singing a song, or I would, say something that I knew they would definitely not use, and then I would like put in my gossip message to whoever I was talking to.
So
they're always listening.
So backstage hacks, if you're ever on Top Chef, sing a current song and then do something like right after that, so they have to edit that out.
Right, there you go.
Funny. It's funny. So the 3 rounds in the head-to-head competition, it's kind of a unique setup. Round 1 is polenta, or as my wife calls it, fancy grits. Round 2 is beets, inspired by or Cortinian moon-shaped ravioli made with beetroot filling. I wasn't going to try to pronounce what it actually was. And then round 3 to feature Gorgonzola. So the winners of each round secure their spot in the finale. And then if you're in the unfortunate position of being in round 3, if you win, you're in the finale. If you lose, you go home. But to help in this round, they have some Olympians coming in to hang out with them and to help them shop. We have Elena Myers-Taylor, a 5-time Olympic medalist in bobsledding. Red Gerard, a U.S. Olympic gold medalist in snowboarding. Declan Farmer, a 3-time U.S. Paralympic gold medalist in sled hockey. And Oksana Masters, 19-time U.S. Paralympic medalist in Summer and Winter Olympics in just a ton of sports: para-biathlon, para-cross-country skiing, paracycling, and para-rowing. Just an insanely decorated medalist.
Yeah.
That I saw that, I was like, ooh, 19-time Olympic medalist. That's awesome. And then they start pairing them off. So they draw knives. The Olympians draw knives to pair them off to help them shop and to hang out and to talk and to have just like this experience on Top Chef, which I thought was really fun.
Yeah.
A couple of pairings I thought were perfect. So Elena is paired with Tristan. Red is paired with Bailey, which I thought was a perfect match because
Yeah.
during the shopping, Red kind of gives off this surfer dude personality, which fits because he's a snowboarder, right? And then
Yeah.
Bailey's got this like quirky, effervescent personality too. It was just really fun to watch them shop. Oksana's paired with Caesar, and Declan is paired with Shuai. So, what do you think of these pairings and kind of these Olympic personalities?
I thought it was sweet, and like, and I mean sweet, like it was heartfelt. It was very like, I like the moments towards the end where I would love to like see people's family. That's what I would love to see. But I I like that they're crossing over into a little promo for this, but at the same time, like every time they've done this, what, maybe 3 or 4 times, bring in like Paralympians or
Yeah.
Olympians.
Yep.
I like it because for me, I just think that I don't know how to even verbalize this, but it makes it very serious. Like it in the sense of like it's silly and it's different and it's fun. And these guys are like, this is a cool day at work, right? For these guys. They're just like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
go do this. But I think that like there's so much respect for that. And to have somebody who is an Olympian, a Paralympian as like your sous chef, it's a weird dynamic to be like, wow, this person is like, we just went over like all the medals. They're like, go get me butter out of this aisle in Whole Foods. Like it's
Right.
interesting to watch it on TV. And I just think that it brings a lot of like humility to everybody. And like it's almost like you made it to the finale of Top Chef, but like look what these guys are doing. I don't
Yeah.
know. I like it. It's very heartfelt.
Yeah, the shopping scene was really fun to watch. Again, talking about with Red and Bailey, but just all of them because this is not Whole Foods. Clearly,
Mhm.
the language barrier is playing a role here. It was funny. Schwei said, "I need some puff pastry," and they just hand him like a single croissant,
Yeah.
which is a puff pastry, but not what he had in mind. And the Olympians are kind of walking around trying to. I can't read this. What does this say? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So that was just a really fun, unique experience. And then getting to hang out with them and Tristan talking to Elena, pressure is a privilege, which was an interesting mindset to think about.
Mhm.
Trying to equate that in my everyday. I'm not a athlete by any means. This is a body not built by Jake. So this is not an athlete. So the pressure in everyday life, pressure is a privilege, whether you're at work and you feel under pressure at work, that's an opportunity for you to shine and excel and make it through. So some really good life lessons being taught there and was really
Yeah.
interesting. We also get some
Yeah.
2 additional guest chefs. We have top 2 Michelin star chef Andrea Apria and top chef world all-star Ali Gwazawi. So it was really great to see him back on screen. The Olympians are going to judge the first 2 rounds only. The guest chefs and judges will judge the final round. One of the thing in the shopping that just came to mind, Bailey said to Red, "I just want emotional support when we're shopping." So to me, that read, "Don't touch anything, stay out of my way," while
Yeah.
I'm panic shopping. It's like, got it. I'm just going to push the carts. So that was pretty funny.
I thought that was perfect. I told my friend that was over and I was just like, I think anybody at that point, like even if I guess if we had gone shopping with our people in our season, like when the like Shota was my partner, if we had been there, that probably would have been different. I would have been like, you get this half and I'll get this half. And it would have just been like 2 chefs, right? But anybody else, if they're giving me somebody that's not really like a chef or like a competition person in the sense of like running around a grocery store, because it's a very specific thing,
Right.
I would probably say, please push the cart, hold this list. If I add anything, if I tell you to write it down, write it. And if we grab it, cross it off and and I would say like, maybe like keep like a rough tally of like how much we're spending, like just rough numbers, add $2 to everything and just start adding it as we go. I would just be like, that's what I need. So I feel like that was smart of her.
Yeah, I thought so too. Really interesting strategy and carrying that kind of thinking process into the cook. Um, her strategy kind of to me made a lot of sense. She's putting all of her effort into the first and last dish, because if you put all your effort in the first dish, you're in. If you put all your effort in the last dish and win, you're in. That second dish kind of is
Yeah.
non-consequential in a sense. So what did you think of her kind of verbal? And I'm sure all of them probably thought that way, but her verbalizing it and kind of bringing that to front. What was your thought process? Would you have done the same thing?
I think it's really smart. I think this is like, I mean, I hope I would have done that, right? I mean, it's if I'm like, that's what I would have done. I think so. I think it's smart to realize that in the moment, and I hope everyone realizes that. But I think that to compliment her, like this is her last like chance kitchen brain, because like how many times are you asked in last chance kitchen, like, and then it'll be around and this and that, and you do have to think in such a short span of time, how can I like make every move matter and like really benefit and be efficient. And I think you can tell that she's had repetitions in that kitchen, because maybe everyone else thought it, but like it wouldn't surprise me if it kind of came to her first, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Cesar.
Yeah. So they get out to the cooking area. So they do all their cook the night before. They're coming out to do the 30 minutes to finish up. And they're basically cooking in front of a live studio audience. You have these platforms, podium things that look really cool. And Oksana, the way she kind of reacted to everything, I felt like is me if I ever were to guest judge on Top Chef. She's like, "Oh, that's so cool! Look at that!" and just kind of pointing and just happy to be there, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like she's all of us as Top Chef fans, kind of being in the stands and watching. It's like the highest end chef's table in existence, right? That would just be so fun to watch. So fun to watch. What'd you
Right
think of
there.
that setup? As a chef,
No, I
what would
think
you think of that setup?
um I mean, I think as a chef, I think it would just kind of be like, I mean, specifically to me, the chef's table experience is nice because it's like I'm clocked out mentally, literally, like I'm sitting there with a glass of wine in my hand and someone's just going to keep putting food in front of me and I'm not even like ordering the next dish. Watching anybody cook sometimes, especially obviously this cook, but like I think it would feel like anxiety, as a chef. But as far as like if I could take myself out of that, yeah, you're like it's like, box seats
Yeah,
at a game. Yeah.
yeah. Just watching, it's kind of that sports metaphor. You're watching the people at the top of their game do their thing, and it's just fun
Yeah.
to watch. So let's talk about dinner service. So round one was polenta, fancy grits. So Tristan did cuckoo with, and I knew like 3 words in his entire dish.
Yeah.
Cuckoo with poisson non sauce and epis marinated mackerel. So I know what mackerel is. The rest of that I don't know what that was. But it was pretty spicy. As he was cooking it, he was coughing a little bit. Gail was kind of coughing up a lung, and they said it was a little too salty. Cesar did a polenta cake with black walnut ice cream and candied prosciutto. I got to ask you about this. It's bold going with like a dessert first. I don't quite understand what he was thinking. Um,
Yeah.
why? Why would you do that?
I mean, like maybe, and I don't mean that I think that he's cocky or anything, but like if you might think that this is going to blow them away, and you might think this is me putting everything into this first dish, like I'm going to really throw it on its head and surprise them. I just think that after getting like screamed at for risotto not being risotto, I would have just made polenta. Like
Yeah,
I wouldn't have made, I don't care about the ice cream as much as like I obviously wouldn't put a quenelle of ice cream on a bowl of polenta, but I think that it's the cake itself that kind of annoys me. If polenta was the last course and you were still even like holding on by your bootstraps, hoping to get in, then I would be even, I was about to say maybe it would be better, but then I'd be extra nervous. Like,
yeah,
because you're not really making polenta. I just think that like, I don't understand. Learn your lesson.
yeah. I'm not for sure what he was thinking here. It's not. It's a polenta cake. It's not a polenta dish. And you're
Yeah.
right. Had he made this the last course and did a gorgonzola ice cream with a polenta cake, that probably could have been a showstopper, right?
Well,
But
maybe.
maybe.
I think I still would have been mad. That's what I was. Well, I guess that was my thought was, he should have, if he did it last, it would have been fine. And then as I'm thinking that, I'm thinking, well, if he was doing it last, that means that he knows that this is like for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And going into that last cook, if it was a polenta challenge and it's the last thing between me getting into the finale and I'm putting up a polenta cake, I would be worried. I'd be super worried.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do it, maybe you have to do it first.
I mean, Cesar likes to do things out of the box, but sometimes he gets so far out of the box, you don't even see the box anymore. And I think that's kind of where he has faltered in his challenges, where he ended up on the bottom, is that he was trying to go take things just a little too far and push the envelope a little too much. And when you had, 10, 8 people, you could get away with that, but with 4, you can't now. And this is where it kind of bit him. I think a little too far out of the box for the polenta round. I mean, it looked great, but it just didn't fit, I think, the challenge. Schwai, on the other hand, on the flip side, did a 5-spice roast duck on creamy polenta. This is the one I would probably want to eat the most. His duck looked so good. And watching it on the screen, I just want to take a knife, cut that duck, dip it into some polenta and get like a composed bite. Oh my God. I wanted to lick the computer screen. It looks so good.
I feel like him and Tristan consistently just like make food that I'm like, damn, like I would love to eat that. And like, that's the point for everybody, but it's rare that people I think are like consistently every week being like, I feel pretty confident that I'm going to want to eat that.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it looked so good. And appropriately, Schwai wins that first round. And he also, with the win of this first round, we find out at the end, gets a $15,000 Delta gift card, which, my God, I mean, where do you not go? I mean, 15,000. Good. That's a remarkable prize, going on vacation anytime. Well, I don't know. He's got a job. So, but not to have to worry about travel. So great. Such a great travel trip there.
Yeah.
So we go to round 2, which is beets. So Tristan did glazed beets, smoked beet puree, pickles, and pork belly. Technically, it was flawless, and he really made beet the star. I mean, there was so much beet on his plate. The moment he set down that first one, I was like, and I'm talking about this after watching it, but I was like, I looked at that plate, I was like, he's got to win this thing because all of the beets, he understood the assignment and made beets the star of the plate. What'd you think?
I completely agree. I just think that like beets, this is the one I was the least excited about, I think. But when he put up his dish, I was kind of like, that's why, like, for me, it solidified why they have to do it, because I was like, no, like, to get this type of reaction from like a humble beet is pretty grand. And I just think that more often than not, and I love beets, but I don't like love every beet I eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he did beets in so many different ways. So it was like you're getting a different form of beet. But I'm with you. Like, I like beets and I don't like all beets. But I got to be in the mood to eat a beet. So I don't know. It looked really good.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And I also, I guess I didn't particularly love Bailey's beets. I feel like it's like alliteration. We're saying beets too much, and I'm like Bailey's beets by the sea. I'm like having a hard time speaking now. And I feel like I really love Bailey. I just had my notes. I was kind of like, girl. I don't know.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. She did grilled beets with brown butter, caper vinaigrette, and whipped ricotta. And the judge said it was more cheese forward than beet forward. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cheese.
Yeah, and I think that like it, that's good. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like those flavors sound good. I just think that like I can tell that she didn't care about this dish. In my opinion, like if she's not really putting a lot of marbles on it, I just feel like, most beet dishes most beets I eat are like a whipped cheese, the beets, and then like a candied nut or something, and like I just feel like it wasn't, and I know I just said I just wanted her to make plain risotto with Parmesan, and now I'm like, give me more beets, different ways. But I just think that it was very like standard approach.
Yeah, and with her strategy being putting all my eggs in the first and last dish, it kind of showed here in the second, where
Yeah.
she just wanted to get through, enough to get through, but not like putting her best effort in that particular dish. And then Cesar did a beet tostada with chipotle and salsa verde. The tostada they said was greasy, and the beet was somewhat lost. It wasn't cut the right way, or Kristen said it was too thin, or if it was just a little bit thicker, it might have been better.
Yeah.
Making tostadas day of was a courageous thing to do, but he had to fry it a little longer because they weren't dried out as much,
Yeah.
and it just held on to too much grease. So what do we think of Cesar's? I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan.
No, I just think like, yeah, I mean, I feel like such a douchebag. Sorry, can I say that? Sometimes,
Sure.
if not, sorry. I feel bad sometimes because it is so easy to sit here and be like, well, this is what I would have done. Um, because in the moment I might have been like, wow, so creative, Cesar. But like, I do think watching this back, we used to do like really quick tangent, like these little once a month dish challenges at this restaurant I worked at. And so it was a way to like foster people to be creative and like to have new ideas. And you would come in like an hour early on one Saturday a month, and you would find out what the secret ingredient is along with everybody else. And in that hour, you have to put up a dish. Everyone puts it up. Potentially, if the chef liked it and you won, you'd work on it, go on the menu, blah blah blah.
Cool.
Um, I just remember like I was an intern, and it took me like 3 months to realize that the people that were winning, and maybe this is just the chef I worked for, but like one time it was a red pepper challenge, and this guy did like a crudo, but it had red peppers 10 ways, right? Like he used the juice, he dehydrated it. We're doing this, we're doing that. It has all these textures. And so for me, when I'm asked to highlight an ingredient, I really do try to first think of ways, and maybe it's just because of that experience or whatnot, but I think it would have worked well for this beat challenge, like it worked for Tristan. Like just try to conceptualize a beat in as many different like textures as I can. And
Hmm.
like to create that, like to make it so much beet flavor, but you're getting like the joy of the different textures. And then, what do we use to highlight it? Then what do we like add to complement it versus like, I'm going to take this idea and work the beat back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why Tristan won, because he won this round because he realized how versatile beats are, and then used them in every way he could to highlight the
Yeah.
beat, which was I think the point of all three of these rounds. Um, and
Crushed
kind
it.
of opposite to Bailey, where she was putting her effort in the first and third, it seemed like Tristan was doing first and second. Because when we get to the Gorgonzola round, he's like, not a whole lot of Gorgonzola being used in Afro Caribbean cuisine. So
Yeah.
he had no clue how to use it, which, when you hear Tristan say that, you better watch out. He's going to blow you away with something that he's never worked with before. But we don't get a chance to see what his Gorgonzola dish would have been. I mean, we saw glimpses of it, but he wins the second round, so he's sitting next to Shuai in the peanut gallery. So Gorgonzola is the third round. I'm not a huge Gorgonzola / blue cheese guy.
No.
Do you like in a Gorgonzola challenge? I get that you're supposed to highlight the product, the ingredient, but do you kind of lean into the funk of the Gorgonzola, or do you pull it back enough to let people know it's there, but not overwhelm them? Like, where's the line, do you think?
Man, I'm super biased. Like I really don't like blue cheese, and I think that like it would have been hard for like actually it's one of like the three things that I would dream in like what my nightmares of having to cook with and like highlight because I don't even want to taste it. Um and so for me, I probably would have done as much as I can to like honor it while really balancing it because like I would need to like be able to like ever think it tastes good. I would just, even if it was like great, I'd probably be like, this is bad. So I don't know, but I think that, there's some people, I think it depends on that, specific cheese they had that day and like how ripe it is. And depending on what other people are doing. I know you're not supposed to think about that, but I think I probably would be really curious, because if somebody is kind of shying away, maybe take that into account. But I don't know. I think for me personally, I would have done like everything I could to like forget about the blue cheese.
Yeah. Try to hide it a little bit, but let people know it's kind of there just to get through the cook and your own sanity, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm always like checking the cups when we get wings. I'm like, I need to make sure this is ranch.
That's right. So let's talk about the Gorgonzola dishes. So Caesar had a butternut squash casserole with Gorgonzola sauce and sage pesto. The judge said the squash was cooked perfectly, but Tom thought it was out of balance and too salty. They said the Gorgonzola with the bechamel was just too much salt. So it was way out of balance. Bailey did a polenta granitat with brulee Gorgonzola. Gutsy move, bruleeing the Gorgonzola again. Even the judges were like, come on, she messed this up the first time. She's going to try to do it again.
Yeah.
But it worked this time. And what was funny is one of the Olympians, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, said he doesn't like Gorgonzola, but cleaned his plate with Bailey's. So that's a huge compliment. He's like, I guess I like Gorgonzola now.
It is.
So Bailey, I think here watching the two, I mean, really in all three rounds, there was a clear winner in all three rounds, which was really interesting. And then this third one, Bailey was clearly the winner. She learned her lesson with bruleeing Gorgonzola the first time and got it right this time. It really looked good. And, I'm kind of like that Olympian. The only way I'm like that Olympian is I might like Gorgonzola now after eating that dish. So what did we think of these two dishes? And then kind of Bailey bruleeing again. At first, were you thinking, what is she doing?
I would just like to say that I think you're like an Olympian in multiple ways. Okay. Like, I think you have a lot of like beautiful attributes about you. Anyways.
So kind and a liar, but go on.
I thought that I just feel like they tell you, like, if don't try to redo something, like, so it's always good when it works out. But again, like, there's just a lot of moments in this episode I'm like, what are we doing? And I feel like I'm trying to think, when we did the growth challenge, I think they specifically said, I normally would recommend you don't try to go back and redo something, or like, here's my redemption time. It usually is like, and so when they asked us to do that, they were like, this is your chance. It's like, I just think it's kind of ballsy. I'm really glad she pulled it off.
Yeah, I'm glad she kind of learned her lesson in both the risotto, even though her risotto didn't come out great, but it seemed better than the first time she did it, and learned her lesson here. So that's what Top Chef is about, right? Is growing as a chef and becoming a better chef at the end of it, and showing your growth by doing something over again that you messed up way back in episode 1. Is, you're thinking that was like 2 months ago, to be able to pull that off again this time. I mean, good for her, good for Bailey. So she wins, makes it to the finale. I love all three of these in the finale, and I can't really say I'm rooting for any one particular person, but because I love all three. I think all three are very deserving. I think Bailey winning as kind of the underdog, I guess, coming back from LCK is a great storyline. I think Tristan winning the thing with his POV of, shining a light on chefs of color that don't get this type of opportunity is great. And Shuai just kind of making the run that he's made through the back half of the season, I think is a great storyline. All three are going to be great. So I couldn't have written a better one, except if Massimo was in here. Massimo, we miss you, buddy. But I thought I think it's a great final three. Looking forward to seeing what happens next week. And I mean, I think it was a great episode. Couple of table flipping moments overall, but I thought it was a great episode. Any thoughts or things that you wanted to talk about with this particular episode that we missed?
No, I think it gave me what I wanted from the part 1 finale.
Yeah.
It really did. Little drama, it's not drama, but just like what's gonna happen. And like there was still moderately good cooking. It wasn't like crazy. But then there were some standout dishes. I just think that it really sets us up. Like right now, I do think anybody could win, and that's how I want to feel going into it.
Exactly. It's a much better finale if we can not know who's going to win. or be like, oh, it's so and so's to lose. I love Buddha Low, but in his 2 seasons, we knew he was going to win. Like I mean, it was his to lose. And here, it could be anybody's game, which is what makes this such a great dramatic finale. So, speaking of which, yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the draft points. I got some bad news for you. With the elimination of Caesar, you are out of chefs. So by virtue of elimination, I win the thing. So
dang it! Redo. Just kidding.
So going through the points for this episode, though, Shuai won the elimination challenge, so you get 7 points, and then Tristan won the quick fire. He gets 5 points, so I get 12. You get 0. Caesar wasn't really on the bottom. There was really no bottom of the judges' table, so no negative points to go around. But he is eliminated. So you are out of chefs. So I'm not going to add insult to injury by adding the finale points, which are large. You get if we had equal amounts of chefs in the finale, it would have been 15 points just for being in the finale, and then 30 points if you win the thing. So
I do want to know. At the end, I do want to know your final points, because I want to know what will this be like an all-time best, you think, for you?
Oh, for me, I mean, I've done this 2 years. I lost last year by a wide margin. And this year would have been, this year is vindication for me. And then I learned my lesson in my draft picks from last year by picking who I picked this year. So I feel like I have also grown in the viewing of Top Chef and learning my way through. But yeah, so right now through 12 or 13 episodes, I am at 118. You're at 85. So we were tied. We were kind of tied there a little bit, a few episodes back, but I'm starting to pull away here towards the fourth quarter.
Good job. I would shake your hand.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But what's interesting to look at the points, I look at the individual chef's points, and Tristan, obviously, he's running away with the thing with 51 total points over 13 episodes. And then Shuai has 37 total points so far in this episode, and Bailey has 13. So clearly from a points perspective, Bailey is kind of the underdog coming in, and Shuai and Tristan are kind of the expected winners, but anything's possible, right? Like they say in football, any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday, we'll see what happens, but that's where we're at. And so you get to watch from the sidelines as I take home the rest of the points for the finale next week.
Oh, it's okay. Now I can relax. Right. You know what I mean? Now I can enjoy the show.
it's less stress watching with your fantasy team being eliminated. But so we did get a little bit of a sneak peek in the finale, and as is tradition with the final cook, the chefs get some help, and we see who that is. I was kind of surprised they showed it. But it looks like Lana, Paula, and Zubair are back. You have Lana paired with Bailey, which is a perfect match, obviously.
Makes sense.
Zubair with Tristan and Paula with Shuai. So I think that's the pairings. That's what it looks like. But, editing, you never know. But it's good to see all three of them back in the kitchen, and looking forward to next week's finale. It's the last one.
I wish someone would have brought Massimo.
I know, right? That again leads me to think, I think they were just tired of his shtick. By 2 months in, I don't think he turned it off. Like, some people play a character on TV, but I think Massimo's like that all the time. And they're like, dude, I cannot work with that. Great chef, but at the end, the personalities have to mesh, and he just comes on a little strong for people. But that's why he makes such great TV.
You're right. I love him from my couch, so who knows? But I'm very excited. I'm excited to see some of these faces again, and just kind of know, move over, Danny. Who's the new top chef? I want to know. I feel I can't wait anymore. So I'm excited.
That's right. One more week to go for the finale, and I can't wait to see it all unfold. Chef Savannah, where can people follow you online to see what's going on in your life?
Instagram is basically the place to be, at SavvySav, SavvySavv.
Excellent.
Yes,
and don't forget to follow me on socials as well, at Rich Herrera and at Eat Your Content on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also leave a review. If you like what we're doing here, if you like the personalities, if you like us covering Top Chef, leave a review on Apple or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, and make sure to hit the like button and the bell button so you know when things are coming up. Chef Savannah, thank you so much for joining me again. We got one more week of this, and we'll see where it goes.
I'm excited. I know. I'm happy for your win, and now I'm excited to see. Like, I really honestly feel like it's going to be a surprise, and for that, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, it's going to be a
One more
great
week.
finale. Can't wait for it. It's going to be good. So we'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Eat Your Content. If you like what you hear, please consider supporting the podcast through my merch store on TeePublic. Get great quality items like t-shirts, hats, mugs, and more, all sporting the vibrant Eat Your Content logo. Go to teepublic.com/user/eatyourcontent for more great items, and thanks for your support.